I'm going to turn it over to Daniel to run through the 10 commandments for social media beginners.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? And they all said good because they're on mute. Hey, I want to start with, there are 10 things that I've experienced with not only my own personal experience, but in working with clients that I think everybody should pay attention to. And I'm often asked, well, where do I get started? What are some things I should know? How do I, know what to do kind of on a daily basis? And the 10 Commandments for social media beginners tackles that. The first thing is focus on essential networks. There's thousands and thousands of social media networks and social media tools. You could get literally lost in signing up for what seems like the newest, greatest thing. But if you're a beginner, start with the essentials: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Those are 3 essentials that you can get signed on to very easily. A lot of people that you know are probably already there, and they essentially cover all the functionality that social media can bring to you, not only as a person but as a business. The next thing is be deliberate about making connections, and this one is a biggie because when you sign up for these networks, you're going to have people coming at you from all different directions, and it's going to be people that some of them some of them you have relationships with. Some of these people are you've never heard of them. They're just connecting to you because they're trying to build a large body of connections. What you want to do when you're making connections and you're starting out is use a criteria for why you're going to make connections with someone in each of these essential networks. With Twitter, people are going to follow you. They will follow you for a variety of reasons, but when you follow somebody, make sure it's somebody that you want to hear from on a regular basis, that you're interested in talking to them. Very similar with Facebook. Facebook, here again, if you wouldn't do someone a favor, or if you're not interested in hearing from them on a regular basis, feel free to ignore their invite. And with LinkedIn, which is more oriented towards business communities, here again, use that criteria of, if you don't know them implicitly, or if you don't feel like you could pick up the phone and call them and ask them for, a specific, favor, or, put them on a specific task, or if you're not, willing to have that kind of reciprocal relationship with them, skip them. Next. Have a defined purpose. I can't stress enough the fact that if you pick up one of these social media tools, start a profile, start making connections and invest any time with this tool, you should have at least a vague idea on the outset of what the purpose is for you using the social media tool. And I would even say, apply that to the essential networks. Yes, you should, have a YouTube channel. You should absolutely have a Twitter account, Facebook, LinkedIn. But before you sign up for these things, before you get involved in these tools, ask yourself, what am I trying to accomplish? And in the business context, you need to understand from a business point of view, what it is that you're trying to accomplish by using social media. Social media is just a place where you're able to get a community together to communicate and talk with each other. It's not a magic wand. We can't just provide you with this technology, and you can't just have the technology and expect for something spontaneously good to happen. You need to have a purpose on the outset so that you understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish by using these tools. Thou shalt not spam thy neighbor. And this one, I think we can all hold near and dear to our hearts. Listen, this thing called social media is not about the technology, it's about people. It's about people communicating with each other on the level of normal conversation. And so you have to think of it as, you know, if I'm having a conversation with somebody, do I always want to be talking about myself or all my status updates or all the things that I say just about my sales presentations, my price points? How interesting would you find that if you were in a conversation with someone who only talked in terms of you know, what they had going on with themselves, their business, their pricing? You're not, you know, you're not in the market, and so be advised. It's a lot easier in social media to share messages across you know, a wide variety of platforms and to a bunch of different audiences. Don't just use that platform as a megaphone for your sales pitch. Bring positive attention to other people. One of the greatest things that you can do with these new tools is to, you know, share information about people that you value and that you do business with. And it's a win-win scenario for not only the person that you're bringing the attention to, but for yourself as well. You know, it's a good thing to talk up somebody else, especially when, you know, what you're saying is what you honestly believe and what you hold, you know, to be true. And in doing that, you're practicing your own communication skills. You're demonstrating to, you know, a larger community, whether that's a personal community or a business community, the kind of person that you are, the kind of business you are, and what your values are. So, you know, there's that element which you definitely want to engage in, and there's a secondary element, which is when you're talking positively about someone else, the people who are interested, you know, in that person, whether it's, you know, their parents, their friends, their business vendors, people who like that second party, you know, these third party individuals are now going to be focused on you because they want to know what you're saying about somebody that, you know, they have this, you know, emotional connection to. So it's also a means of building your own audience by reaching outside of, you know, the people who are directly connected to you and appealing to their sense of interest. Thou shalt create multimedia content. This is you know, something that is a little bit more difficult for people to get their minds around because, you know, sometimes we're not all that technology savvy, and we feel like, oh, you know, what if we make a mistake in, you know, videoing ourselves, or, you know, how do we post pictures? Listen, you're not going to learn unless you experiment and try, and you know, it's better to try and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes than to not do that at all. And the benefit of multimedia content is that it makes things a lot more interesting and a lot more palatable for your audience. Keep your content brief. You know, here again, in this class, we try and keep these classes short because you've got a lot of things to do over the course of the day. You're budgeting a certain amount of time to dedicate towards, you know, listening to us present information. We've got to keep this, you know, core and compact and on message so that the message, so what we're saying fits within your budgeted time period. This goes to the economy of time versus attention. You might be extremely interested in what Seth Godin has to say. However, if what Seth Godin has to say is 3 minutes long and you only have 2 minutes, well, either you have to skip that message entirely, or you only get a fraction of the message, and sometimes a fraction of the message is, does more harm than good. So, keep your content short and to the point, and include links in blog posts or to blog posts so that people, are able to follow up on the larger message. And thou shalt not download every app you find to your smartphone or handheld computing device. Again, just like social media networks and social media tools, there are tens of thousands of applications out there, and ultimately what you want to avoid is loading up your smartphone with so many programs that you end up inhibiting the performance of that device, and you've got a lot of junk on your phone that you just don't need. So the secondary point is here, you want to focus on the things, on a few tools that you have mastery over, and get to use those on a daily basis. And then, once you come across something new that is also helpful, feel free to download that. But avoid a bunch of getting involved in the hype and the whatnot. All right, so thou shalt automate. There are several social media tools that they're not networks, but there are things that help you spread out your content. For instance, one of these tools is called Buffer, and Buffer is a tool that allows you to schedule messages to come out over the day, but in staggered times that you set, so that if you're reading 5 or 10 articles and you want to share all of them, they don't come out in one 15-minute or 5-minute block, and allows you to schedule them so that they come out in different times during the day, and it's not all in one big clump. There are also profile management tools like Hootsuite, which allow you to not only pre-schedule messages, but to look at different profiles and do keyword searches. A lot of interesting stuff. But automating what you're doing is going to help you in getting involved in executing what you want to do in social media. And don't be afraid to take a risk. Here again, we've mentioned it before with multimedia content and just focusing on a few networks at a time. You want to have an idea of what your purpose is in using these tools, but you're not going to be perfect, and you're especially not going to know everything about what you're getting yourself into when you start using social media. The important thing is that you get involved and that you start slowly, but here again, it's better to participate than to not. So you're going to learn some things that are important and valuable through your experience, and experience is a great teacher. So I encourage you to get involved, find things that that help you accomplish your purposes. Be discerning when you're making connections in social media, but don't be afraid to get involved in social media.